amazing people. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Cancer Smart Youth Podcast Show. My name is Ida, and today's episode is very special. And when I say special, I mean it. So what you're supposed to do is please stay glued to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss an episode. All right. So March is International Women's Month, and as we end the month, we've got a very special guest today, someone who has been the drive behind the work that you see, the work of the Zambian Cancer Society that you see on our Facebook page, on our website, the beautiful work that the Cancer Smart Youth Podcast is doing. And this is no other than the founder and executive director of the Zambian Cancer Society, Miss Udie Soko. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Ida.
Thank you.
A lot of energy this morning.
I'm happy. It's not easy interviewing your boss, but hey, I have the energy. So thank you very much for being on our podcast, for being our guest. I know you are so busy. She's a student as well, so she's supposed to be in class, but thank you so much, and you look beautiful.
Thank you very much, Ida.
All right. So Miss Udie Soko wears so many hats, and these include she's a Lemonista, she's a Dukutoba ambassador, certified breast cancer educator, wellness advocate, and she's also patient for patient safety champion under the World Health Organization. All these titles to her name, right? So, but then the hat that she's wearing today is being a very young cancer survivor. She's a survivor of 2 cancers, and she was diagnosed with her first cancer when she was 23, and later with her second cancer when she was 59, right?
Well, almost right.
Okay.
Yeah, my second cancer, my breast cancer, I was diagnosed when I was 49.
Oh, 49.
10 years ago.
Okay, thank you. So the second cancer was diagnosed when she was 49, about to hit 50.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back. Take us back when you were diagnosed with cancer at 23. What cancer did you have?
I had a type of cancer called cancer of the lymph nodes, or Hodgkin's lymphoma. Mm-hmm. We all have lymph nodes.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah. So this particular cancer affects the lymph nodes, and that's the type of cancer I had. The long and short of it.
Okay, all right. So you're 23 years old. You're at the prime of your life. You're probably in university, or you've just finished, and then you are told you have cancer. How did you navigate this process?
Well, it was a very confusing situation to be in. As you said, I was 23 back in the day. That was 1989-ish. I'd finished university, just completed. I had started working at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but probably, almost a year prior to my starting work at the ministry, I noticed a lump on the side of my neck, and I never thought much of it. It wasn't painful, but it was growing slowly, but didn't really mind it until I was diagnosed after I'd started working, and I didn't really understand, I believe, the gravity of the situation, because for me, the bottom line was, okay, I've got cancer. Is there treatment? And the answer was a bit murky. Yes, there is treatment, but whether there's treatment in Zambia or not, that's another thing. And I didn't understand that I was dealing with a life or death situation. The fact that there was treatment somewhere was good enough for me, and I held on to that, not knowing what was coming, the ups and downs of being a cancer patient and survivor. That was the drama was yet to unfold. But when I was told, yes, devastated in a way, but hopeful, because I knew there was treatment somewhere.
That must have been challenging and confusing, like you have said. So now what I'd also like to learn is, later now when you had breast cancer, did you have some lessons from the first time, and what was different when you received the second news about your breast cancer?
Yeah, before I answer that question, just put the first one in context. At that time, there was no cancer diseases hospital. Cancer was rarely spoken about. You know, because we're talking about 1989 or so. And it was a disease which wasn't really that common in Zambia. I was blessed to be working for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs then, and I was sent to Germany for treatment and to work. So I was in a very fortunate and privileged position. And I survived the cancer, of course I did, because I'm alive and well, and completely 100% cancer free. Let's fast forward now to 2015.
Yes, 2015.
Right, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer. A couple of things had changed. One, we had a cancer diseases hospital. And so that's really a plus. On the negative side, what can I say? On the negative side, the number of cancer cases were on the increase. We're talking about it more. So yes, it's not great. Our desire is to kick out cancer, not to have cancer. So when I was diagnosed with the disease in 2015, my experience of my first cancer came rushing back. It was like just yesterday. All the emotions came flooding back. Lessons that I learned. Well, I was bracing myself for the grueling side effects of chemotherapy, because I was told I was going to go back onto chemotherapy. And I just started growing my dreadlocks at that time. So I was not happy with camper. Yeah, I think I was 6 months into the process. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to lose my hair. And again, and I thought also of the vomiting, of the pain. Well, I was very sad. And one of the things that was difficult to come to terms with was the fact that I was going to have one of my breasts removed. Yeah, breast removed for surgery. So how do you come to terms now with that drastic body change? What was interesting though is science had moved quite a lot since my first diagnosis. We're talking 20 plus years.
Yes.
Whilst the two cancers were different, the side effects that I was anticipating, as bad as they were so much better than with my first cancer. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So for me, that was a relief, number one.
I can imagine.
Number two relief was the fact that I was not an inpatient. When I was receiving my breast cancer treatment, I would go every 3 weeks, yes, but I would go as an outpatient, so I was not admitted.
Okay.
With my first cancer, I would be admitted every 3 weeks for about a week or so. Yeah, and have that IV hooked to my body and counting those drops. Oh my gosh. So I was somewhat prepared, but I think each experience is different.
For sure.
Maybe the last thing I should say is, because I was more knowledgeable about cancer, maybe in a way that was a disadvantage as well. But, well, I braced it for 1 year.
Okay.
And here we are today. And here I am, gladly part of the Cancer Smart Youth show.
Thank you.
My mic.
There's a backstory to this microphone, don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay, so at what stage was your breast cancer found?
The jury is still out on that one. I was diagnosed in South Africa and I was told it was stage 2.
Okay, which is early?
Yes, early stage. my, not say the cancer was still confined to the breast. It had not spread to my armpit or to the lymph nodes in the armpit. When I brought my results to the Cancer Disease Hospital, they also did the assessment. In their view, it was stage 1.
Ah.
So whichever way it was early stage. I was saying that, I can live with stage 1.
All right.
Yeah, but the bottom line is that it was
early stage.
Yes, still confined to the breast. It had not moved from the breast.
Okay. And I know you are, like I have said, certified breast educator. What are the maybe 2 or 3 advantages of early diagnosis?
Number 1 advantage is that the earlier your breast cancer is diagnosed and effectively treated, the higher your rate is of survival. Number 1. So the higher survival rate. Yeah?
Yes.
Number 2, with early detection and effective treatment, the second advantage is that the treatment is less aggressive and less invasive.
Yes.
For some, they just have the lump removed and they have radiation. I know right now there are challenges with radiation, but it's important that people know that there is that.
Yes.
There's that option. You don't always have to have your breast removed. And because the treatment is less aggressive or less invasive, even your recovery, generally speaking, is less. You have what can I say? Your recovery is quicker because maybe you don't need so many surgeries for this, that, and the other. The dosage is not so high, and so that's the second advantage. The third advantage is that you don't, of course we don't want a situation where it has spread to other parts because you start compromising your body. So the more it is confined, the earlier the detection is, the better it is overall for your health.
Yes.
Because it hasn't gone to the liver, it hasn't spread to the bones, so your outlook, perhaps I'm repeating myself, is better. But overall there's less toxicity or inflammation in the body. So that's already helping the body to overcome the disease.
Okay, that's very good. And most of the things that we have experienced, the stories that we have heard, is that some people would have signs and symptoms, but they're scared to go to the hospitals. Scared for no reason, scared because they don't know what to expect. And they're also scared that, okay, if I am diagnosed and then what? So those skepticism. So how would you encourage those that are still hesitating to go to the hospital, to have their breast examined, to have their breast checked, and just in case they've got something, early detection would really, really save their lives like it did in your case?
The fear is very real. I am still fearful, to be honest. I think sometimes we may be flippant to say, oh yeah, go for, it's very easy to say, oh, go for a checkup, when you're not the one who perhaps has noticed something different regarding your breasts, or you felt maybe some lumps or bumps in your armpit, or aches and pains in your bones, for example. So fear is very, very real. And looking at cancer, I think first of all we must understand that we're looking at a person, at a human being who has got emotions. So if I am fearful, and try and understand that, try and empathize with me and encourage me. I've said it time and time again that cancer is not a disease where really logic comes into play. It's the heart, it's what the person is feeling, what your body is saying. So yes, logically I know that I need to go for a checkup. Yes, it's important, early detection. Yes, it's very all well and good. But then something is holding me back. So that's why it's good to have a buddy. It's good to have someone to talk to. It's good to have someone to, buddy, someone to escort you. We may think, or even somebody like me, it's not easy for me to go for my annual checkups. I start sweating 2-3 weeks, maybe 2-3 months before. Oh my God, now what? And even when I go for my checkups, it's so mentally draining.
Yes.
You don't sleep well, you don't eat well before, you only exhale. Well, in my case, I'm talking about myself in particular. I only exhale once I'm told the results. Before, blood pressure is rising. It reaches its peak during, I think, maybe not even its peak then. It rises again more when I'm undergoing the tests. Then it reaches its peak as I'm waiting for the results. That's right.
Yeah.
And then I'm told. And when I say reaching its peak, when when I'm waiting, that's where we are for now. And I guess that is where it should be. Then when I'm told, you're given the all clear, it comes down. But you can imagine if at that point one is told, it has come back.
Yeah.
We've got another cancer. So it's not an easy journey, and I really, really get it. So let's not be too, as I said, like have this laissez-faire attitude. Yeah, I go for school. Yes, but understand that the human being with emotions and needing a hand, her hand or his hand. Hey, but all I would say, no, what about cancer and men? His or her hand to be held.
For sure. Okay. Thank you so much. So, the Cancer Smart Youth podcast is here to raise awareness on cancers that affect young people and to end the stigma that surrounds cancer. There's isolation, there's fear, there's what. Did you at any point face any stigma or isolation? Could be from family, friends, or anybody in the community when you were going through treatment, or you heard or you knew that you had cancer?
When I had my first cancer, a lot was happening. I was still trying to process the whole I have cancer bit. In the initial stages, I was still in Zambia, and then I traveled to Zimbabwe for staging. So there was a lot happening. So in terms of stigma or isolation, I didn't really feel it as such, because not that many people knew, because we didn't even have a cancer hospital. So it was, okay, you've got this disease, now what about... it was just managing the disease, so these other issues didn't really come into play that much. Then I traveled abroad to Germany, where I was treated. I really like to appreciate my workmates, generally speaking. They were very sympathetic. Sympathetic, yeah. And it was a very harrowing experience. I was down for many, many months. But the former ambassador there, the late, he would come and visit me, at the hospital. And when I was finally discharged, I spent 6 weeks straight in hospital. They're doing tests. You can imagine coming from Zambia with your file. You just put them aside. But it was the same diagnosis at the end of the day. So I didn't really experience stigma from the community. as I said, I'm still trying to process this whole illness, and I was being treated. So yeah, well, eventually I'm going to get better. But maybe what I can say is I self-isolated in many ways, because I lost my hair, I was sick, I was going through a lot of pain. So I didn't want to be out in the public like that. I lost a lot of weight. I think I was like around the 30 plus kgs. I mean, I was really, really very thin. And you know, so self-isolation, I imposed that on myself because as a way of coping, everything was new. Didn't understand. Today there's this pain. What does this mean? Today there's this. I'm not sleeping. My leg is restless. You know. So every day was what's happening today. Yeah. So I didn't really experience that with my first cancer. Yeah.
Okay. How about with the second one?
With the second one,
yeah, looking that you're already in the cancer space, helping cancer patients, advocating for better treatment and all that, and it visits you again.
Yeah, I was not a happy camper, I can assure you. I mean, who would be? Yeah. I think my first, I rebelled internally. You wouldn't have known if you saw me walking along the pathway. I rebelled against God, number one. I just said, oh no, not again. So I felt alone. Yeah, I often felt alone. I also felt undue pressure on me. I know people are well-meaning, but this statement of, oh, you are strong, you've gone through the first one, so you get over it, and then you almost feel like you can't have a bad day.
Yeah.
Must always know the stiff upper lip. All will be well, so, you know, just get on with it. So for me, there was a disconnect between people's good intentions and my receiving their good intentions. They didn't really get me. It's not everybody, but there were quite a number of people. And also, you know, you don't really know how to what's the word I'm looking for? To speak to someone who's going through cancer. Even if person X is sitting next to me and he or she tells me I've got cancer, no, I have to think through, how am I going to speak to this person?
Yeah.
So people mean well, but they say all kinds of things which are not very helpful. And because of that, again, as a coping mechanism, I isolated myself. I was very, very particular about who would come and see me when I am in bed because I'm recovering from chemotherapy. And I know a lot of people didn't understand that. Family and friends.
Yes.
And the reason being, one, I didn't have the energy to cope with going through the same story. Oh, how did it start? All this. How are you feeling? Yes, you know, I'm feeling like I can explain briefly. But when it's easier over the phone, because how long can you talk? You can even say, look, I'm not feeling too well, so cut off the phone. But if there's that person in front of you, first of all, as soon as you walk into the living room or they walk into the bedroom, they want to see how are you looking.
Yes, how you're looking. Skin has changed. Your hair is,
yeah, for the hair. Yeah, so I was very, very particular. I didn't want a crowd. I didn't want to be crowded. And the less I say, the better. But and these episodes were primarily during the time when I was having chemotherapy. So I think it was for about 6 months. And I wasn't self-isolating throughout those 6 months. It was when I was recovering from chemotherapy. So maybe after my first two cycles, actually, I didn't even have to self-isolate because the side effects were minimal.
Okay.
After the third, the fourth, the fifth, by the sixth one, I think it took me 10 days before I fully recovered. So for those 10 days, so now people knew if they wanted to come, they would have to ring and ask me, can I come?
Like an appointment.
Yes, my appointment. The answer was no. And I would say, I'm not feeling up to visitors coming through, but once I am better, we can meet. Because even if you come, we won't really say much, but I appreciate you checking up on me.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think, I know there's some people who think get it and don't understand it, think you really want more and more people around you, but for me it's the opposite. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. We are learning, and I hope you are also learning. Sometimes when people are going through different things in life, it could be cancer, it could be any other disease, it could be mental issues. Sometimes you just want to have that you time, that me time, and you don't really want a crowd, and we need to respect that from people. So thank you very much. And like I said, this is International Women's Month under the theme Accelerate Action. So how do you interpret this theme, Accelerate Action?
Yes, International Women's Day or Women's Month, Accelerating Action. One of the decisions I made this year is to focus on self. Self-love, self-care, Udie time.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is my 60th year of being alive. So hey, it's time now I look inwardly and I wouldn't necessarily say reinvent myself, but I need to rejuvenate. I need to relax.
For sure.
I think I will be a more productive person come 2026. So when we talk about accelerating action, it's what do I want to achieve?
Yes.
And I really put Udie in front because for so long I've been on the sidelines, I've been behind everywhere else except in front.
Yes.
With 60 looming, I've said, no, how many years I left? I don't think there are another 60 necessarily. So I found it important, and I have made this conscious decision that I am putting myself first. So my understanding is accelerating action. The things I've been saying every year, my New Year resolution is this, that, and the other. What is working and what isn't working. What is working, I'm moving forward with it. What doesn't work and what doesn't serve me, shouldn't be happening. Let me put it, something that's still happening.
Yes.
So that's how I look at it.
Okay.
This is the year of Udie, and that's the long and short of it.
Great. This is the year of Udie. I love this. All right. Okay, that's very good. Taking notes. And also, as a woman in your space, you have really laid a very good platform for many people, including myself. You have helped a number of us, discover ourselves, put up the Cancer Smart Youth podcast. So by the way, when we're about to start this podcast, so we didn't wait for perfection, but Miss Udie just told me and my team behind the camera, Willie and Atash, say, you know what, guys, don't wait for perfection, just start. You're young people, you can make mistakes and go away with it. So that's one of the things that, one of the things that I pick from you, say don't wait for perfection, just start. And like I said, you've laid a very good platform for many people, young people, a number of volunteers that we have at Zambian Cancer Society, staff, and so as you rise, you are helping other people rise as well, which is very good, and thank you for being this woman. So now, many of us, when you want to start something, there's always that something telling you in your mind, say, you can do it tomorrow. After all, there's tomorrow, you want to start school, you said, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. You want to apply for a fellowship, for scholarship, and all that, we are fond of procrastinating. So I would like to know what message or what motivated you to start the Zambian Cancer Society and say, okay, now I'm ready. This is the name that we're going to go by. We're going to what really, I know you had thoughts prior, but what motivated you to say, okay, today is the day?
It's a very interesting question.
Yes.
And it's a question that needs a whole podcast of its own.
Yeah.
Let me try and summarize.
Sure.
Why did I found the Zambian Cancer Society? The short answer is, I was called by God.
Nice.
People say, really? Yes, really. I wouldn't have signed up, to believe it or not, because you know the story.
Yes.
Who said so? Isn't that something we always say? Who said so?
Who said so? Yes.
That I was not the most ideal person or the ideal person, because I am an introvert. I like my own space. You know, I'm not the life and soul of the party. I'm not good in crowds. I'm more of a one-to-one kind of person.
I understand.
You know that.
Yes.
You know that.
Yes.
You know the story. In church, where I go, Miracle Life Family Church, Pastor Walker was giving a sermon, and during the sermon, he was talking about sometimes we feel that we're not good enough, we're not ready, this is not, I don't think this is for me, I can't do it. And the question he asked was, who said so? And that I sat up and I said, who said so that I'm not good enough to run the Zambian Cancer Society? And I'm talking about like several years, and not like initially. And then I realized, I said, it was me, my own internal limitations I was placing on myself, my limiting beliefs, thinking that I'm not good enough, or the ideal person should be A, B, C, D, and I'm not that person. Until I realized that, and you can imagine getting that realization when sitting in church after several years. It was liberating. And I now know that I am the ideal person for such a time as this. And I've been saying, and I've been telling some of my friends that for me, this calling, I know is for bigger things. I have planted a seed, and I'm expecting, knowing the way God operates, that what has been birthed is just the beginning. The Cancer Smart Youth podcast. Yes, it's not about perfection, it's about progress. And you have made so much progress. And I'm sure the next time I'm on this show, there'll be a microphone from, I don't know, who makes the most happening microphone? I don't know, out there, microphones. But I'm so proud of the Cancer Smart Youth podcast, and I'm so happy to be holding this mic.
Oh.
Yeah, I know you guys do a great job. And what motivated me is that God called me to do this. And when we started, I actually began my journey in the cancer advocacy space in 2001 when I returned from the UK. And I was with another cancer organization. They're not in existence anymore. And I joined this other cancer organization. At that time, they were just focused on children. And I knew in my heart that my calling was not just for the children. I remember praying one day, because occasionally I would hear God talking to me and telling me, you need to set up the Zambian Cancer. You need to set. Then I would say, I say this because when I was called, I asked for a sign, and that sign came very, very clearly. It was an article in the Daily Mail. And when I was hearing this voice, occasionally telling me when are you setting up? My answer was, when I asked God for a sign, and I said I wanted a very clear sign, it was because I didn't know that this cancer organization existed. Now that I know, why would I set up my own? Little did I know the plans God has for me. Eventually, I knew it was time to leave that organization. And I said to God again, we are talking about life and death situations, literally. And this was before 2009. It was now 2004.
Okay.
I need to go for training. You're trying to know how to play the game with God. And I need to go for training, something to understand how to set up an NGO. I've never done that. I've always been in formal employment. So what's this? What are you calling me to do, really? Make a way. And he made a way. I ended up going for training in the US under the American Cancer Society in 2006. I said, okay, great. 2007 came and went. 2008 came and went. 2009, I'm sitting in my office and I heard a voice again. What is stopping you from setting up the Zambian Cancer Society? And it was so clear. I thought about it and I said nothing. I actually answered. And then I knew that it was time. And so that's how it came to be. But the name came before 2009. I prayed about it. I was doing so much research on the internet, seeing other people's names out there, thinking, oh yeah, that can work. But it never sat right until one day, the name Zambian Cancer Society came to me very clearly. And I said, why did I think about it all this time? Yeah, so that's how the name came about. So my footsteps are guided by God. And I know great things are yet to come. Probably not in my lifetime. I mean, because if it's in my lifetime, it's limited. Because, at some point, I will pass on. But it's as I've said, together, we are sowing seeds. Toela, you love that. And I've learned that from you. Sowing a seed, and you sow seeds in so many ways. Here is the Zambian Cancer Society. The Cancer Smart Youth are now firing on all cylinders. Then whoever, take over, and it's a cycle. And then we'll see, how God will want it to end is that the way it's going to end. That he directs my steps. But I would like to come back one day, back onto this show, and share the ups and downs.
Sure.
Because you may think it's a walk in the park.
There are ups and downs.
Yeah, there are ups and downs, trials and tribulations. But there's also a lot of joy and laughter and a sense of satisfaction.
Yes. Okay. Oh, so inspiring. So now you see here the Zambian Cancer Society, in case you are watching this show for the first time and wondering who are they and what do they do, we support cancer patients irrespective of age, gender and type of cancer. And really our help varies from patient navigation, counseling, helping to provide basic needs for people who are hospitalized, especially, help to purchase drugs, supportive drugs, help pay for local medical lab tests. So the question that I have for you, just under 30 seconds, imagine you didn't set up the Zambian Cancer Society. There are so many people that have been helped, so many people that have gone for screening because they have watched the podcast, because they have participated in the Duku Challenge, and all sort of things. So I would say we have at least saved a life, if not many. But imagine if you didn't set up the Zambian Cancer Society.
Yeah. It all comes back 180 to God, who saw the end from the beginning. Because if you had said to me in 2001 that come 2025, I'll be holding this mic and speaking to one Ida Perry, I would have said, yeah, right.
Yeah.
But here we are. One word I can say is the importance of dreaming big and then dreaming bigger.
Yeah.
You know, here at the Zambian Cancer Society, we're never short of ideas. They can be, I know they're even outrageous. There are some things don't even make sense, even to us, but we dream. But we're not confined by what we see. We don't move by sight very often. It's got its advantages and disadvantages. We have great expectations.
Yes.
And I think one of the gifts God has given to me is a certain fearlessness, if that's the word to use. I know a lot of plans haven't come to fruition, but a few have.
Yes.
But if I had just been moving by sight, because there are times when you're even trying to articulate the idea, people don't get it. But you insist and you persevere. And it can be a lonely journey. And you can even look like the village idiot because they don't get it.
Yes, yes.
But because I've got this fearlessness, I've got a lot of, it's also fear, because if it doesn't work, then what happens? But because I don't know if it's fearlessness, I wouldn't say stubbornness, no, I wouldn't say so. But this ability to see and dream big and to have great expectations from myself and for those who surround me, it has really helped the ZCS to be where we are today.
Yes.
And I'm glad that you and Cancer Smart Youth and some of our volunteers have caught that bug. Or maybe it was already there. It just helps to, to get it out of you, and voila, here we are today.
Okay, awesome. So in Zambia, you can't really talk about cancer awareness, cancer advocates without mentioning Miss Udie's name, because she has been helping to drive this agenda for a long time, and I'm glad that we are really winning. We are making headways, and there's been a lot of change. Now people are more aware of cancer and its signs and symptoms, and many people are talking about it. Many people are sharing their stories through different activities, through different projects that we have. So as we wrap up, let's just touch a little bit about the Duku Challenge, just a bit. I know it also needs an episode of its own, but hey, Duku Challenge is such an amazing campaign that we can't end the podcast without talking about it. So, in a sentence, what is Duku Challenge for you?
Duku Challenge is a dream which has become a reality, which is homegrown, which shows the ability we have locally to create a campaign that can change the world, that can be replicated, we can take to the world, right?
Yes.
A lot of times we bring things to Zambia, which is great, but what are we taking to the world? And for me, the Duku Challenge is the epitome of a program which imperfect, not perfect. We began together, Ida.
Yes.
We didn't even know what it was all about. We said
in your bedroom.
You remember COVID-19?
Yes.
COVID-19.
Yes.
My bedroom became an office. And we said, let's go for it. If it works, it works. It does. And people were asking, remember, what is this Duku Challenge all about? We couldn't really explain it. We just said, look, we're just going with the flow. After all, October just has 4 weeks. If it doesn't work out, we'll move on. After all, there's COVID, but you just hide that COVID.
Yes.
But here we are in 2025, and the Duku Challenge is a simple idea. But look at the impact that it's making. So sometimes the ideas which will, go viral, for lack of a better term, sometimes the simplest of ideas. Don't be afraid to try new things. If it hadn't worked well, what was the worst that could happen? Nothing. It wasn't death, isn't it? And don't be afraid to ask for help, because the Duku Challenge is what it is because people gave us a chance to to put it out there in the public.
Yes.
Said, okay, I'll be an ambassador. Whatever you want me to say, I'm not sure, but I'll wear a Duku. And they had faith.
Yes.
They gave us a chance. And here we are, several years later. And the Duku Challenge is just growing, growing, growing. And very soon it will have a bigger impact in Zambia and worldwide. We're working on something behind the scenes, you know that. So
it's coming. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Go to our YouTube channel, Zambian Cancer Society, and subscribe so that when we've got these big announcements, the ones that we're working behind the scenes, you don't miss it. All right. So in case you're wondering what's the Duku Challenge, how do I take part? How do I become part of the community? Well, so mostly during the month of Dukutober, aka October, we wear Dukus, head wraps like the colorful one that I'm wearing today and the one that Miss Udie is wearing. Basically, to stand in solidarity with the many cancer patients that have lost their hair due to chemotherapy. So we do so to support them, to help them not feel alone, to help them not get to be isolated and all that. And now this challenge has really grown, and it's the organization's biggest project that we are running. So to learn more about the Duku Challenge, please visit our website at dukutoba.com and see how you can take part and be part of this beautiful growing community. Okay, so we are wrapping up, and always when we've got this podcast, I have these funny questions that I ask people, right? So your question today is, I would like you to tell us a quote in Nyanja. I know your Nyanja is so sketchy, but so any quote in Nyanja, and tell us what it means.
Right. The quote is, I think I have to say it several times and then you will pick the best. So the quote is a quote that my mother taught me. And she used to like to say, Olila mvula, olila batika. Which means the person who is crying for rain is also crying for mud. That, the English one is as a rose is a beautiful flower, but it also has thorns. So there's positive and negatives in a situation. So sometimes you have to go through the storm in order to get to where you want to go. Yeah, it's not all roses. There are ups and downs.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. We are so glad that you have joined us. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and make sure you follow us. So if you're a young survivor, a young caregiver, a medical personnel, or someone who is promoting health and wellness, and you'd love to be the guest on our Cancer Smart Youth podcast show, please call us on this number that is scrolling on the screens right now. So from me, 𝐈𝐧𝐭𝐻𝐿 Piri, and Miss Udie Soko, until next time, bye.
So I'm breaking the silence. So I'm breaking the silence. I'm breaking the silence.
Let's go get 'em.
Feel free to follow us on all our social media platforms at Zambian Cancer Society: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. You should also subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss an episode. Contact us on 0976 659914.